everybody, I'm the Different Collector, and welcome to another video in the One Piece card game. I'm sorry I didn't post the last few days, I've been kind of sick, but it is pre-release week. This Friday is going to be my pre-release that I'm going to be attending, so here's my video on what cards you should be playing for your decks. First off, just one note. Most of these parallel cards are really good. This is the Blocker Law that can switch cards from your hand in the field. He's also just a big blocker. Boa here is also a big blocker, but when she blocks, you can draw a card if you have a low hand size. And since these duels will be very slow pace, this is going to be a very powerful thing just to have a draw, because you're going to be using a lot of cards from your hand. It's going to be a very long and drawn out few battles you're going to do. Ninebeard is Ninebeard. Anyone who plays like the card game and has played against any like red deck pretty much knows how powerful this card is. Magellan is crazy. You can remove some of your opponent's Dons. That slows down their gameplay. And Sakazuki is also really good because you can just KO one, KO a 5 or less, which is a very powerful and is very powerful effect, especially for a format where if you can pull these cards, it can be very game breaking. But yeah, I'm gonna be going over like blockers, all your 2K counters. Those are like givens. But there's a few other cards in between. Like the first card I'm gonna be going off here, Usopp. But let me just preface a few things. For your pre-release events, you can play any number of cards of that card. So if you pull, let's say you pull 5 Karoo here, and you want to play 5 Karoo, you can play 5. Or let's say, you get somehow out of your 6 packs you pull 2 Whitebeard here. You can play both. The ban list doesn't apply. I don't think it does, at least. I might be wrong on that. Actually, now that I think it, now that I say it out loud, that might have just been a dumb thought. I'm pretty sure you can play 2 if you somehow pulled 2 of these. Also, I mentioned this in my leader video, but you can, if you're playing Vivi, you can still play green, blue, purple, yellow, and black cards. And you're not just restricted to yellow and blue. So play whatever cards you want. So yes. First card we're going off here is Usopp, a 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter card. His effect reads, on KO, you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 5,000 power or less. That is a very wide range. There is a large umbrella of characters that could go under. And I think that is a very good effect just to activate. And also it is a 5k beater, which can get over most leaders. Next up, we have the Kung Fu Jugon. These just a set of 1 cost guys, but if you have multiple on the field, they both get blocker. I think that is very good. I just think, it's gonna be a cheap blocker to get out, like I'm pretty sure like the cheapest in this entire set. So I would maybe recommend playing these if you get a lot of them. I would say like if you get like 3 or 4, I would play them. If not, don't play them. Next up, we have I have a paper in front of me of cards I think would be worth playing. We have this here, this 1 cost 3k power Sanji, with 1k counter as well. He's just a vanilla. He's good in the same right as like Sunny-kun, where you can just get him out for cheap, like in your first turn if you have nothing else to do with your 1 Don. Get him out. Next turn you could even like give him 2 Don, give 1 to your leader that goes swinging for 6, swinging for 5. That's pretty powerful in itself. Yeah. It's also just counter power if you have it in your hand. Next up, I think it's in the next page here. Yes, we have this Luffy right here. It costs 9,000 power Luffy, and it gets and he has Banish. It's just a big guy to get out. It's gonna be pretty hard to get over, but pretty hard to kill. That's just a very just powerful card to have in the field. Next up is this Zoro here, a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter Zoro. With on play, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. So this is basically what Otama does from set 1, but it's a 6k beater as well, and it is just really good on the field also because it'd be hard to kill. Even if your opponent plays that Usopp I mentioned, they can't kill it because this is a 6k power. Also, it's 5 costs. That's also decently hard to get off the field. And last card I think I had on the red here was Happiness Punch, a counter with 1 cost. Give up to one of your opponent's leader or characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. So that's already turning 1 down into 2. Then, if your leader is active, give up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards minus 1,000 power during this turn. That is also really good because if your leader is active, you didn't attack with it. That turns this 1 Don into 3 Don power. It's pretty decent. Next up, we have this Kuro right here, which is actually vanilla. I should have said this earlier. I'm only 5 minutes in, so I'm glad I'm looking at it now. I'm not gonna be focusing on the SRs because the SRs are obviously gonna be amazing cards to play. Pretty much all of them will be, but it's gonna be harder to pull them. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be given 6 packs, and SRs are 1 in 6 packs. So probably only pull 1, and there's like 20 of them or something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but it's a pretty high number. So it's who knows what you're gonna be pulling. And there's a lot of commons and uncommons, so it's gonna be hard to say which of those you're gonna be pulling. But I think with all the cards I have on my list here, you'll at least pull a few of the ones I think are decently good to play. So yes, Kuro here is a 6 cost, 8,000 power, 1,000 counter character. And he's just a vanilla guy to get out that is decently high power. Next up was Giola here. A 4 cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter. On your opponent's attack, you rest 2 Don, and then rest up to one of your opponent's characters that cost 4 or less. That's pretty good. A lot of your characters that are going to be playing are 4 or less, or just pretty big guys. But for early game, this could be very good. I'd say this is probably one of the weaker characters that I'm going to be having on my list here, but I think just resting a 4 or less on your opponent's turn is pretty good. Next up is Daddy Masterson right here. A green character that costs 4 power, 5,000. Give him 1 Don. On the end of your turn, you send him as active. So you have him on the field. On your next turn, you give him 1 Don, so it's a 4 cost, 6k. You attack. Obviously, he's going to be rested, so he's going to be a big target on your opponent's next turn when they have their attacks. On the end of your turn, if he has 1 Don, he becomes active again. So, they can't easily kill him unless they dedicate an event card or some other powerful card effect to this. Next up, we have Diamante here. A green character that costs 5 power of 6,000. Counter of 1,000. He's a blocker. And then if he has 1 Don at the end of your turn, if you have 2 or more Don cards as active, set this character as active. So it's a 6 cost, 6,000 power blocker. That's already very good, just to block many attacks. And he can send himself back up as active. So your turn, you played him last turn, so you already have minimum like 7 Don in your field, unless they somehow got rid of some of your Don if they pulled Magellan or something. But that's a small world. Not small world, but a very low chance for that to happen. You have your 7 Don. You can dedicate like 4 to a turn. No, 3 to a turn, I guess. If you had 7 Don, give 1 to him. It'd be 4 total. So you could use 4 Don? Yeah, 4 Don, and then like give 1 to him, and then have 2 as active. You get him back as active, so it's still a 6k blocker and a 6k attacker if you play with the fact that you have him on the field. And then next up was right here, Spiderweb. A green event with a cost of 2 counter. Up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. So that's already turning 2 Don into 4 Don. And then set up to one of your characters as active. So if you have that Diamante blocks. You already have to have 2 active, so you're not going to be like, you're already going to have it up for Spiderweb. So you have 2 Don up to keep Diamante set as active after you swing them as 6k. Diamante blocks. They go to attack someone else. Activate Spiderweb. That character, someone gets 4,000 power. And Diamante goes as active, so that's going to be blocking 2 attacks with 2 Don. Going to be insane to play this card. Next up, we have this ulti here. A 3 cost, 4,000 power ulti with 1 counter, with 1,000 counter, sorry. Don times 1 when it's 1 Don card equipped. When attacking, return up to 1 character with a cost of 2 less than the owner's hand at the bottom of their deck. So this is going to be, in essence, a 3 cost 5k beater because they have 1 Don to activate this effect. You attack, and you return a character with cost 2 less to the hand, aka one of, if your opponent has any, low cost blockers. That's what makes this card very decent in her own right. Next up, we have the Blue King here with a cost of 7 power of 8,000, counter 1,000. On play, draw 1 card. He is a big guy to get out, and you get an extra card in your hand, which means good card advantage and a sealed format. Next up is going to be, not Queen, sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Page 1 here. Page 1 is a 4 cost, 6,000 power. When he has 1 Dawn card equipped, once per turn, when you activate an event, draw 1 card, then place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. So you're recycling your hand a bit, but it's also, just to get this effect off, you'd be activating an event, which there's a few powerful ones I think you might be able to use. Maybe not too many on your own turn, so maybe that's not the greatest, but he's still a 4 cost, 6,000 beater, which makes him very decent in his own right. Also, if you made it this far in the video, I thank you very much. But also, any 2K counters you pull, like this Sasuke here, I haven't been going over all of them because I haven't really been thinking about it. But if you get any 2K counters, just play them, because your 2K counters will be very powerful just to stop attacks. Next up, we have Roki here. A vanilla with 5 cost, 7k power, and 1k counter. Just another big body to get on the field. Next up, we have a event card here. This would be one of the ones you'd be activating on your turn for page 1. So, 6 cost, but you can place any character at the bottom of your opponent's deck. Or the owner's deck. So, begin your own cards as well, I guess. And the trigger is place 1 character that costs a 4 less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Which is a very high cost, but very high pay. So you can dedicate 7 down to get a draw 1 and put 1 back to the deck, and return 1 character your opponent has, any of them. So any like not big monster. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. Any big character that's on the field, you just activate this, send it back to the deck. This is like your biggest piece removal if you do pull it, because it is a rare card. Next up is another event, which is Dragon Twister Demolition Breath. A blue event with a cost of 2 counter. Up to one of your leader or character cards gains 4,000 power during this battle. So that already turns 2 down into 4. Then plays 1 character cost of 1 less on the other's deck, which could be very good depending on what other characters your opponents are playing. But this is also just a decent event card. The trigger is return one character the cost of 6 or less to the owner's hand, which is pretty decent. If it is a 6 cost card, or like even a 5 cost, even if your opponent is on their 10 down turn next turn, they have to dedicate over half their Dawn or half their Dawn to just getting that card back out in the field. Next up, we are going to go into purple now. We start off with Banana Gator, a vanilla, just like Roki. Same stat line, just a decent guy to get out in the field. We have Miss Merry Christmas, which is a 4 cost, 4,000 power blocker, but also has a trigger of Dawn -1 and playing this card. That can be very good on your opponent's turn. You will have Yokozuna, which is a blocker. And in your opponent's attack, you Dawn -1. Return up to one of your opponent's characters cost of 2 less to the owner's hand, which is pretty decent. I really like that. It's not even like on block. It's any of your opponent's other things. So I think that's really good. Then we have an event card here for Nez Palm Cannon, a 3 cost event card with counter. Up to one of your leader characters gains plus 6,000 power. That's turning 3 down into 6. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, you add 1 Dawn and rest it. So that's already a ramping one too. That's pretty decent cost too, even if you're on like later terms. I think even if you're 8 or 9 Dawn turn or something like that, and you can just activate this ramp 1. It'd be good. It'd be good if you have another have like Happiness Punch in your hand. Actually, that's rest stats. That wouldn't work too well. My apologies. But yeah, just a pretty decent event card for a sealed format. Under black here we have Ideo, which is a 2 cost blocker, which is a very just low cost blocker to get out. Will be very nice. Then we have Oyama Onkashi, a vanilla with a cost of 6, power of 8,000, counter of 1,000. Good because it's a vanilla with a big body. After this we have, where is it? Don Chinjiao, a 5 cost, 6,000 power character with a counter of 1,000. Give him 1 Dawn. Then if this character battles and KOs your opponent's character, draw 2 and trash 2, which is pretty good. You get extra, like, you can recycle your hand a bit, maybe get a few better cards at the top of your deck. Then we have Law here, which is just like Roki and Banana Gator, just a decent vanilla to get on the field, because these will be used a lot. Then we have Bartolomeo, which is a 3 cost blocker, which is another blocker to get on the field that would be very just universally good. And last but not least, on to yellow, which we will start off with Beiji here. I just want to mention, Lin is decent. The trigger is really what makes this card good. If you have 1 or less life cards, play this card. And it's a 7,000 attack card. But Beiji here is also really good. It's a 2k counter, but also the trigger is amazing, which is one of your opponent's leader or character cards cannot attack during this turn, which is just pretty universally good. Yeah, that's probably one of the best cards in yellow you could get. Next one is, like I said, Sanji here is great. You know, the trigger is playing it and all that, but a lot of the answers are great. Like I said earlier, we are not going to be playing them because the odds of you pulling them are slim. Perilous Sparrow is another vanilla. I know I'm kind of like sounding like a broken record here, and I realize that, but like a lot of cards in here are either like not like good enough to be worth playing, I guess, or just like too abstract to get their effects off, or like hard to guarantee that you could play enough of it to make it worth it, or like need a certain archetype. You know, some cards are like, oh, you need a Baroque Works leader, when in all reality, let's just be honest here, you're gonna be playing Whitebeard or Zoro. You're not gonna have a Baroque Works leader. You're not gonna have Vivi as your leader. So a lot of those red cards from Vivi, like if they're, as long as they're not like if they're not like high power or low cost, like decent effects, they're not gonna be worth it. You know, things like Pound here, which is a blocker, and then on KO you can add up to one of your opponent's character the cost of their less to the bottom of their life, is just decent. And then the last one here is another vanilla, which is Randolph here. And yeah, just another vanilla. But yeah, I am really excited for this sealed format. There's probably a lot of cards here I kind of maybe just overlooked or didn't think about. I guess like what? Rabian here has a trigger of playing those cards. So I guess if you get it in your life, it'll be pretty decent. But if it was a 1-cost 3K, I'd say, yeah, go ahead and play it. There's just a few things, I guess, in my head. I guess once I'm building my deck, I'll consider a few cards differently. But thank you very much for watching if you made it to the end of this video. I really enjoyed making it and really enjoyed looking through all the cards and deciding which ones I thought were going to be pretty decent or not. I wish you all the best of luck in your pulls for the pre-release event this week. I'm hoping I can pull a pretty decent deck myself. Thank you all very much for watching, and have a great day!